In Palmerston North today to do a road test on one of the smaller models of the Sinotruk, 330 horsepower, with Cardinal Freight. We're going to be doing round town deliveries and deliveries to Progressive's warehouse here in Palmerston North. So come along for the ride.
It's down to exciting Palmerston North for a run in the baby of the Sinotruk range, the T5G. This is a 330 horsepower 6x2 rigid, fitted with a Fruhoff curtain-sider body and towing a refurbished Roadmaster 4-axle trailer. It's the ideal setup for a Cardinal Logistics around town delivery truck. We follow the truck only around Palmerston North for the morning, with regular driver storeman Mark Fryer at the wheel, doing pallet drop-offs at supermarkets and wholesalers. It's typical work for this truck, and Mark's constantly opening and closing curtains at every stop. The truck's fitted with an Anteo tail lift that he only uses once in the morning, but good because it offers unloading flexibility. It's back at the Cardinal yard where I start the GoodYear Trevor test as we hook up to the trailer, which has been loaded with pallets of bottled water while we've been away. Then the truck's also loaded with water, all of it destined for the Palmy Countdown distribution centre. It's not going to be a long run, but it's typical of the truck's day-to-day work. Being that there are no hills on the way, we certainly aren't going to be grabbing gears too much. As the truck's being loaded, there's time to wander around and check it all out. It's a compact cab over, slightly bigger than a day cab, and that it does have a very small bunk behind the seat. I couldn't see me spending a night in it, and the boys at Cardinal certainly don't use it. Around the outside, the cab looks functional, with plastic fittings here and there, including the guards, part of the bumper and the grille. Down the side is one of my pet hates with the Sinotruk, the totally unguarded exhaust, which generates a fair amount of heat and isn't the place you want to accidentally rest your hand, given there's no heat shield. On the other side of the chassis is the SCR fluid, or AdBlue, tank, and the fuel tank, which catches your eye because it's not mounted parallel with the edge of the deck. It sticks out at the front, apparently due to the angled chassis rail. In most trucks, brackets would have been made to correct this, so it creates an untidy look to the truck. It's time to go, so up into the cab. There are two deep, grippy steps, but the top step is recessed in under the edge of the cab floor, so it means you're only on it with your toes rather than your entire foot. Inside the cab, it's very functional and easy to find a good driving position. But your left leg doesn't have much room to move, with the engine intrusion coming well across onto the driver's side. There's just no room between it and the clutch pedal to stretch out your leg. Into gear, and straight away I find a heavily weighted gear stick, which needs a good push to get it over to first gear. It's a ZF 9-speed box, effectively giving you 8 commonly used gears, and actually similar to the one used in Mack midliners with a double 8 shift pattern. But on this one, they've put in a range change switch, which I think is much better than the old double H. I remember being trained on these boxes years ago in Europe by ZF, and the idea was that you used fingertip control to move the stick, as they maintain that forcing the gears damaged them. And we've certainly seen a bit of that in NZ over the years. I can tell you that you won't be fingertip gear changing in this Sinotruk. It takes a forceful hand to move the stick, and I find the gates very lumpy as you go into each gear. It should be weighted to the 3rd and 4th gear positions, but it doesn't immediately fall into the gate and still needs a bit of force to pull it right over. As well as your 8 main gears, the box has a crawler gear and reverse gear on the far left, and it takes a good shove to get the stick over there, which is good as it avoids accidental selection. Mark doesn't mind the box, but I really feel for this type of job an AMT would be a better option. Let's face it, I don't get into top gear the whole time I'm driving around town. I'm actually due for a left shoulder replacement within a few days, and even after driving 12 Ks, I certainly know I've changed some gears. The clutch pedal is reasonably heavy, but the throttle has a nice weight and the brake pedal is well positioned. Visibility is good, with a good depth to the windscreen and excellent mirrors with a large, flat upper mirror and a lower convex mirror for great side vision. They're quite large, but I don't find too much of a problem with blind spots as they're well off the A-pillars, so you look through the gap between them and the pillars. It's hard to comment on the power as we never encounter any hills to see how it pulls, but on the flat you can certainly feel the load. I'm guessing we're running around the 30-tonne mark all up, and it certainly feels like it on liftoff. But for what it's doing, the engine handles it no problem at all. The steering is positive, but here's another of my pet beefs. The steering wheel doesn't come back to a straight position when running down a straight road. How hard is it to align the steering wheel to the wheels? It might sound like I'm nitpicking, but these are the things that need to be addressed. The Sinotruk in general seems like it's capable of doing the job it's been put into, but a few things need sorting out. A few cosmetic changes and this could be a really good truck. It just needs some attention to detail and certainly some work on that gear shift.